Okay, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. We welcome to another scene in Living World of Darkness Rage Across New York venue, and we find ourselves this evening with near the Cubs cabin, and we start in the trees. Up in the tree is Talia, who is currently struggling with the fallout and emotions from the dealing with the fish farm last night. She's been after up the tree for a little while. A couple of people have come past and looked at her, but I think Lucas came by earlier and didn't get a very good reception. So I think he's gone to get one of the girls to talk to her. She is probably not massively high up in the tree, but far enough up that it takes a reasonable tree climber to get to her. Wrapped in a really big jumper and, yeah, staring off into space.
Well, here's the question. Did she make a point of choosing a tree that would be very difficult to get up into, or did she just take whatever was nearest?
I don't think the tree, she particularly chose a particularly hard tree, but so the lower levels are probably not too bad. Higher up where is not so easy, but they're the ones near the cabins, so they're not ridiculously difficult.
Oh,
And
all
she's
right.
not massively high up. She just seems to have stopped where it got a bit more difficult and she had to think about things.
Sounds about right. Well, then very well. We shall indeed blame Lucas on swinging around and pointing the situation out to Maeve, at the very least. So, eventually, after Talia's been up there a while and told Lucas to bugger off and all that happy stuff, she'll wander out of the girls' cabin, wearing her sweater, just kind of looking around. She's been antsy herself following the trip to the fish farm. Obviously not as outwardly upset because, well, she didn't actually have to do anything too terrible. But she's been antsy. She's perhaps been a little more active in the cabin, been cleaning up obsessively, just finding anything to do with her hands, especially in light of the fact that she can't read. And so it shouldn't be too beyond belief that she wanders outside, and after a glance around to figure out which ones she can and can't even get into, she'll probably select the same tree as Talia and just kind of idly start climbing. Not addressing Talia, not trying to annoy her per se, but just kind of getting up the first couple branches. Hopefully this is something like a magnolia, so they're pretty ladder-like in ease in the lower parts.
Yeah, lower down will be relatively easy. Talia's not gonna even look down, but as soon as she hears someone coming up from the tree, she'll just... What do you want?
It's just me. She'll go about clambering a few branches.
Maeve, why? Just...
I'm not trying to bother you.
You mean well, but... I'm not sure what you want out of me.
She'll get up to about, probably just a little above head height, where someone could probably reach up and grab the branch she's sitting on and just kind of plunk. And seeing as lower branches tend to be thicker, she'll shuffle herself around so she's got her back to the tree, her legs along the branch. Probably has a hold of another branch or two just to make sure her balance doesn't betray her. She is not as graceful as some people. So, she'll just kind of hunker there, fairly low on the tree. Well, I just figured you might want to talk to something better than a tree. If you don't, you don't have to.
I don't see how talking is going to help.
It might not. I just wanted to be here for you. You don't have to do anything or say anything or anything like that. You don't have to be any closer.
If I don't need to do anything or say anything, why are you here?
Maybe I just want to be around you.
Why would you want to be around me?
Well, in a way, we're kind of sisters now, aren't we?
Sisters. You want to be...
Not in
I
a
wasn't a very
weird
good
way.
sister the first time round, and you want to be my sister after seeing that?
Yep. And she's not trying to make eye contact, by the way. She's just kind of looking off ahead of her, essentially trying not to engage any more than absolutely necessary unless she's prompted to, because, well, irritable Aruns are not the best to over-engage.
You say you want to be my sister and you seem impressed with yesterday, but you spent most of your time avoiding, from what I could see, participating in yesterday.
I never said I was impressed with yesterday. We did what we had to do yesterday. I won't
What
say
we
you
had
didn't
to
do
do,
well.
is that what you're calling it?
Well, what we had to do. Parts of it absolutely had to happen. Other parts I don't agree with, but it's not my place to question it or say they shouldn't have happened. I did my
What you
part.
had to do and what I had to do seemed very different things.
It's true. And I'm sure it was a lot harder for you than it was for me.
If you've just come to make platitudes, I'd rather you leave.
I'm not here to make platitudes. I'm not here to patronize you or anything like that. I just figured,
Really?
shrug. Yeah. Look, when I came here, from the very first night that I came here, I had Lucas to talk to all the time. Every night he would come by and we would just talk. And he talked to me like a person, while everyone else talked to me about things I didn't understand in a war I wasn't sure I was okay with or wanted to be a part of. He just talked to me like a person. And I feel bad that you haven't had a similar someone just come by and talk to you all the time or give you an option to talk to. Everyone needs someone to take solace in. So,
How can you call me a person after yesterday? That was not what people do.
I still see the person in you.
I think it's pretty that you do. But I think you're deluding yourselves. Or yourself. But somehow you seem to avoid all of the bloodshed.
Well, I see the things that I need to see in order to be able to keep going. So, of course I see the person in you. And as for avoiding the violence, I don't have the rage you do. I don't have as much of Luna's gift in me. I don't have a taste for violence. And to be fair, I probably could have done more, but I also worried about safeguarding the item I'd brought with me. I tried to do more of my role. I wish I could have done more, but there were so many things on the other side that there was no further way for me to help. I felt kind of useless, I'm not gonna lie.
You say you have less rage than me. You have more than Albert and Lucas. But you say you feel useless. Well, maybe you were, maybe you weren't. That's not for me to say, but don't pretend to understand what I did.
She'll tilt her head a bit. She's still kind of looking off, and she kind of nods to herself. That's fair. And I don't. But I'm
Your
still
pretty
here.
words say you do.
Then I apologize for misspeaking, because it's not my place to pretend I know. The only people I think I've ever hurt were the people that forced me to spar with them. And even then, it was only because I had to. Maybe I'm just a coward. But either way, I just didn't want you to
If there's
feel
what
alone.
if there's one thing I learnt yesterday, sparring and talking about it is not the same as doing it. I didn't really remember the first one, that first time, but then everyone told me was a warrior and I had to do these things and training was fun, training was exhilarating. What's probably more, but last night I won't pretend it wasn't exhilarating. I won't pretend I couldn't enjoy it, and I don't. That probably makes it worse. But it's not the same.
I believe you. I
I
mean, I
think
had
one
to.
day, Maeve, you won't just have to believe me. I hope you don't have to and you don't lose that nice sunny shininess you have. But somehow I don't think this life is going to let you stay like that.
That's kind of the general consensus. I mean, even last night, after it all happened, Garrett came by. And I mean, I had to thank him because in our part of what happened, there was only one person that stood in our way. And Garrett was at point, so he took care of it. And I thanked him for doing it, if only because it meant that I didn't have to. I understand that it's hard. I don't understand what it feels like. I don't know, but I appreciate that I haven't had to so far.
That's nice for you. And Maeve, I understand words might be your thing. They're not mine. They never were. I don't even think I could. Maybe at some point you might understand more, and maybe then I can try and share the words with you, but right now I just don't have words for you.
That's okay. Do you mind if I sit here with you, or will it bother you? I'm not trying to get anything out of you. I'm not trying to make you talk if you don't want to. I just don't want to leave you by yourself.
If sitting there satisfies something in you, then please by all means, but if you don't mind, I'm going to go a bit higher.
That's okay.
The stars in the sky are what I need right now.
Okay.
And she will climb slightly further up into the slightly more difficult areas of the tree. Still not going like really far away because she doesn't want to get onto the really delicate branches, but she's definitely a lot further up in the tree now, probably slightly obscured by some of the branches, but you can still see her sat there.
That's okay. She'll glance up to see how high she goes about time she stops moving, just to kind of get a gist for how far away they are, and we'll just settle in.
You can probably see the hand that's not sort of balancing her slightly on the branch is sort of slightly clenching and unclenching as she's just staring up at the sky.
You want to rage? Because that's how you rage.
No, not quite there yet.
Fair enough. Seems we have a bit of a long pause in conversation as the tree waves back and forth in a bit of a wind. Gets a bit chilly. Actually, Maeve, for you, it's doubly chilly.
Oh, yeah. I think she's all bundled up in sweater and whatnot. She probably has 2 layers underneath it, knowing her.
Talia, when you're looking at the sky, are you looking at anything in particular? Any constellation or any star?
She will probably look up at the only one that she knows and that is normally brighter in the northern hemisphere. She's going to look up at Orion because A, it's easier to see, and someone pointed it out to her once when she was at camp and working at one of the camps, and she remembers it. And being a hunter, that kind of probably now means more to her, but it's something she can focus on.
You focus on Orion, you focus on Orion's belt, you focus on what we generally like to call the three pillars of creation. If you ever get the chance to see that picture, it's fucking fantastic and amazing. But your eye is naturally drawn both to the Orion constellation and towards a few other constellations, Ursula Major, Ursula Minor, and for one strange freaking reason, you're following that small dipper towards the North Star. Seems like it's got a more purpose now. Why do you think that is?
I have not a clue.
Maeve will be glancing up to see
The
what few
North, other
constellations she
than
can actually recognize. Sorry, go ahead.
the North Star's always guided people, and those who want to find their way will often look for it.
A lot of wanderers, travelers, merchants, sailors, vagabonds, desert dwellers, they've all looked at the North Star, haven't they?
Indeed. It has been known to guide people on their passages and on their travels. Helps them find their feet sure.
Would you say that for Talia, that is the most important thing for her at the moment?
I would definitely say that a little bit of guidance and a little bit of escapism and following another path certainly wouldn't hurt. But anything that would guide her in her way and show her travels would be helpful and would resonate with her.
So
Maeve would very possibly glance up at some point, just kind of to see what she's doing, and assuming she can see at all which way her head's canted, will likewise kind of look to the stars, knit her brow a little, think about it. File away a thought.
you, my good man, who is looking up to the sky for some sort of solace or some sort of guidance, well, you certainly do hope that you find it.
Talia will ask one question down the tree at Maeve. Maeve, have you ever seen any other stars than these?
Sort of. Have you ever been on a moon bridge, Talia?
I was just referring to other places in this world, but if you have other worlds.
Well, I haven't gone very far, no. I lived over on Long Island my whole life, and the furthest I ever went was here into the city. Even our little camping trips were only just to the nearby shore, so I've never really seen anything different. But when you go on a moon bridge, you're in the sky, like you're up there. The stars are all around you. You can see everything. And if it didn't glow under your feet, you'd almost swear you were just kind of floating.
That sounds about as magical as everything else here right now. But that would definitely be one of the things I would prefer to see than some of the other things that have been described to me recently.
Would you like to see a moon bridge?
Not right now, but I'll definitely file that under something to look forward to.
You just tell me when, and I will see if I can get you a trip on one.
I'll keep that in mind.
If
But what I
you,
was referring to before, the stars.
yeah,
Mostly I see these stars. These are the stars I remember. But I know I did look at other stars, although they're not so different from these. They say, like, still the northern hemisphere. It wasn't that weird, but when I was little, they were still somewhat different.
where were you when you were
Shame we
little?
can't see them more though here with all the light. Sorry. Where was I at?
Oh,
Oh,
go for it.
I saw them in London. Again, like here, the stars are not so bright, but cities cloud them all.
Well, if you want, I'm going to see if Olaf will let me go to the new cairn sometime soon. I'm supposed to bring something to one of the spirits there. And it's out, way out in the woods. They'd probably be a lot brighter. I can ask if you can come along if you want.
Maybe. I'm not sure I'm not sure that me going anywhere is a great idea though.
Well, it's all up to you, really. I don't want to drag you or anything. Just if when the time comes you want to come. It's a learning experience, and if you've never been on a moon bridge, we take one of those to get there, I assume. So it's double the chance.
I don't I guess let me know close to the time, but I just I don't see why you'd want to take me there.
Well, why do you think I wouldn't?
I think we're back at that impasse of misunderstanding again.
Okay. Well, from my perspective, ever since you've been here, I mean, we're kind of in the same boat. We've kind of stuck together. And, well, I guess if we're wolves, we're pack animals, right? So I like being around the people that I know and the people that I trust, and I want to have them around me constantly. So, of course, I'd want to have you near me. If I had my choice, I would never be without you. I'd never be without Lucas. I'd never be without Katori or Olaf or Garrett. And I would have you always around me. I find it comforting to be near the people that I know and that I trust.
You trust us.
Of
Really?
course.
And what if those who you want to pick up and smother do not want to be with you? Or are not the best company you could keep, shall we say?
If they don't want to be near me, it would hurt, but I would understand. I would respect that. I wouldn't want to smother someone or, again, I don't want anyone to have to do something that they don't want, not if I can help it. There are times I can't, but
You're too nice for your own good sometimes, you know.
I'm
Look,
sorry.
don't take this the wrong way. You and Lucas have been the closest thing I've ever had to friends, but I never really was very good at being friends with people. I don't want to. Maybe. Maybe you should just leave this for now. I don't think that things are quite how you want them to be.
It's true. Well, I mean, I can leave you alone, but keep in mind that no matter what crazy things we have to do, I do trust you.
I just hope that trust in me doesn't get you killed.
Nah.
You say you don't seem to have the problem with the rage. You don't feel it fill you. You don't feel what it feels like to be burning through you. Wrong place, wrong time. I don't want to say I would do it, but after what I've done, I'd probably do it and enjoy it at this, and only cry for you afterwards.
Would it make you feel better if I told you that I've frenzied before?
And how did that go for you?
I
What
attacked
did
Lucas. I tore up his legs. And instead of leaving me or letting me chase the thing that had made me angry, he purposefully drew my rage so that I would chase him and used it to lead me away from danger. But I still tore him up pretty badly. I shifted to Hispo, I chased him, and I bit and tore. And I felt terrible.
And how did it feel for you?
It was just blinding and hot. I barely remembered it happening. I mean, I remembered being angry, but when it happened, he wasn't Lucas, really. He was just a thing that was infuriating. He was just something that I wanted to tear apart, and I tried. I'm just kind of lucky that something stopped me from doing it before I really did. Something that I couldn't take back.
I'm glad that something stopped you. I'm not sure you would cope if it hadn't.
I'm not sure I would either. But this is why, ever since I've heard about that flute, I've wanted to make one. So if things ever go like that, because when we are adults, when we are older, people are expected to fall into packs. And if I have a pack of people around me, I want them to feel safe in knowing that I have a way to keep them from hurting the people they care about. So hopefully I'll manage to make one.
You do whatever you think you must do with this flute, this magic flute will make it work. But I, the first time I frenzied, well, that's what they said I did. I guess now I agree. I remember, I just mostly remembered the rage like you. It was all a bit of a mishmash. It was happened too fast, and Olaf tackled me, and it was over so quickly. The person still died, but I didn't really connect to it. Everything, that's when this first happened. But last night, I would. They hurt. The anger. Well, the anger rose more than once, but the only one time did it take over me. When they hurt Olaf, I couldn't. I couldn't cope with it. They. The anger that soared through me and what I did. I didn't just have it as a blur. I know what I did. I know I felt that anger. They deserved to die, but they may have been creatures, they may have been warped, but to die like that, with their guts ripped out, covering me, covering everything else, how is this a good way to do things? How is this acceptable?
Our society's kind of fucked up. But at least when you raged for a good reason, and at least you dealt with the problem. You didn't attack your allies. You attacked something that had to be dealt with.
And
And let's
before the rage, all of those people, sure, some of them shot at us, and the ones we mowed down and were just slaughtered because they happened to be there.
She shakes her head on that one.
You may
Look,
not have bloodied your claws, but I could feel all of them. They all died. I understand they were our orders, but it's not just the doing of it. It's that I had no problem doing it.
have you talked to Olaf at all?
I have not seen him yet.
I think he would understand better than I do.
Perhaps he was there, he participated, and he's done it before. But just because he understands does not, or has some comprehension, does not make it understandable.
It
Does
doesn't
not.
make it okay, no.
I don't know what you want from me, Maeve.
I just wish I could flat ask you and you could flat ask me what we have to do to help. And I know it's not that easy. When I met Lucas, he was going through a really hard time. The Garu here didn't trust him. They treated him like he was an enemy. And I had to help him tackle that and tackle the memories and fight past it. And I want to be able to do the same thing if this hurts you the way it is. I just wish I knew how to help take the hurt out of it and just leave the understanding.
You can't help everything. It is nice that you helped Lucas before, but you can't fix everything just with words.
No, it wasn't with words.
Maeve, I don't. We're going in circles.
Do you want me to go?
I
Or do
don't
you just
need you
want
to
me
stay.
to stop talking?
I think if you stay, talking will happen. I'm not sure you could be silent for that long. You might mean to, but something else would crop up. You would keep poking. I don't think you want to poke this. Just leave me be.
She'll start to climb down and carefully kind of navigate those lower branches, make sure she doesn't slip or anything. And once she gets to the base of the tree, we'll just kind of hunker down at the trunk. Far enough that it would take yelling to talk, essentially. She's trying to get to a point where it's not convenient to speak anymore, so that there's no pressure to do so.
Talia will glance down the tree and sigh and probably try and take a calming breath, but then she's probably going to try and get to the next tree.
Oh, goodness.
This is not... Yeah, she's going to try and maybe go down one or two branches, find one, and try and jump to the next tree.
Oh, goodness.
Not directly above Maeve anymore.
Okay. Please make this roll.
8. But...
Jumping from tree to tree.
do I get to get my dice?
Strength athletics difficulty 8 or bonus.
Yay! D3. I get to add D3 then. I said strength athletics.
Yeah. Good job, Pete.
Seems legit. Oh, thank goodness. What was your difficulty? Just standard?
Yeah, wrong one. Yeah, do I get a success? So she makes it, she kind of scrambles onto the next tree, but she does make it across. And will climb further up that tree. So she's perched right near the top and is going to start shredding leaves.
Well, Maeve will kind of hitch a breath when she makes her jump, just out of worry. But once she makes it, she'll kind of let out her breath and just set her back where it was, stay where she is, and probably go through the whole Gaia's breath right just to soothe and calm herself. And unless you would like to enter Austin, or unless we'd like to do something else, we'll just stay there.
No. I think you guys have reached a natural end to the scene.
Yep.
Well, all right. You want to close us out, Anne?
So, as we so we get to the end, and there is Talia up the top of one tree, and Maeve sat at the end of below the other one. They are currently not speaking and not pestering each other, so we will leave them staring at the stars. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching, and we will end it there.